Hi, I'm Jessica Strong, the Strategic Manager at SWHPN, and I would like to share with you a quick PowerPoint we made based on requests and feedback we received from presenters and attendees of the last couple of SWHPN General Assemblies. This year we are approaching the 6th General Assembly to be held in Boston, March 11th through the 13th. We will have a wide range of learning opportunities from keynote speakers whose presentations are an hour to an hour and a half long to poster presenters. Some of the daily sessions will be in either 60-minute increments or 30-minute increments, and we pair two 30-minute sessions together, which, while the information may be really, really exciting, isn't a whole lot of time to get major points across. We know that, but that those are kind of the confines in which we are working with to try to get as much information across a wide range of disciplines, from pediatrics to gerontology, international practice to policy, research, all of those in 2 days. So we know it's kind of a lot to ask for people to present information in a 30-minute time slot. We thought it might be helpful to do a quick training on how to make the most of that time that you have. And one of the ways of doing that is by making your PowerPoint presentation as effective as possible, kind of maximizing the space and the way in which you present that information. So I hope you will follow along, take some tips from here, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks in Boston. Some of the things I am going to cover are up here, creating an outline, following some best of rules, how to replace some of your words with graphics or visuals to get a point across, and then some other easy tips such as using the design features in PowerPoint and handouts. It really is imperative that when you are presenting this topic, you create an outline before you start making your PowerPoint and focus on the 2 or 3 main points you want to get across. We know that you may have created a program that has helped thousands of people across multiple parts of the hospital, or that you have undergone a multi-year research study with lots and lots of key components. But for the sake of getting all of that across in 30 minutes, or really 20 minutes if you want to include time for Q&A, you're going to have to just focus on the 2 or 3 high-level main points. I would encourage you to not waste a ton of time on intros, particularly in sessions where you have multiple presenters in your block of time. And you don't need to kind of prove your expert status or go over a lot of your credentials. We have read through your abstract application. We trust that you are knowledgeable enough to be here. The audience gets that information as well, either in the program book or online. So don't waste that 5 minutes at the start of every session. Do a quick intro and then get right into the bulk of your presentation. Some of the big name speakers that go to motivational conferences or write business books on this have come up with a couple of different rules, in quotes, but that you may want to follow. You certainly do not have to follow these rules or really any of the tips we give in this presentation. One of them, though, that kind of makes sense for a 30-minute presentation here is the 10-20-30 rule. So at most, you want 10 slides to cover 20 minutes worth of a talk, and the font in your slides should be no smaller than 30 points. So 10 slides gives you, in 20 minutes, 2 minutes per slide, and you want to make the font 30 points or higher, big enough for somebody at the back of the room to be able to read it very easily. One of the other quote rules in kind of good PowerPoint management is the 1-6-6 rule. So on each one slide, you should have no more than 6 bullets per slide and only 6 words per bullet. And that is because when your audience sees your slide for the first time, you want to keep it as clean as possible, as clear as possible, so that they can read it very quickly and then pay attention to what it is that you were saying. I tend to like slides that have more visuals on them as opposed to a whole bunch of words. You probably are going through this whole slide right now trying to read that third bullet, which means your brain has cut out and is not paying attention to me. Humans can just read faster than we can talk. So in the amount of time it takes me to even get through this slide, you've already finished reading it and you're ready for something else. This is when we see people pull out their phones and check them, or if you've given them handouts, they start flipping through. So if you're going to use bullet points, make sure they are short, easy to read, not a lot of text on the screen. Don't write full sentences. Instead, you want to look for ways to show the data or show the program that you implemented or tell that story in a different way that's not so dependent on words on a slide. So here, I could be telling you how membership grew from 2015 to 17, which resulted in a growth of conference attendees and then the number of sponsors. But a much easier way of understanding this information is to show you visually, right? In this case, using a graph. When you are putting your slides together, there's a lot of ways to think about making it easier for the audience to hear you and pay attention to what it is you're saying. A very quick way is to put a dark background with lighter text. It's much easier to read than dark text on a light background, particularly in rooms where the lights may be dim. The lighter text really pops. PowerPoint makes it easy to, add some color. You can change the design background of the slide by using the tabs at the top, but also using the shapes feature or the smart art or the chart feature that's up there as well to, again, show, not just tell what it is you want to get across. For example, using the smart art, if I want to tell you about how a program got started at my organization, how we rolled that out, what it looks like across departments, the top 2 images here could easily show that information, right? I mean, you would make them fill the whole screen, obviously, but using some type of graphic to show that progression and how the components of a whole program work together is much more interesting visually than just a whole bunch of text on the screen. Or if I wanted to talk about the different steps in a process, right? The bottom 2 graphics could be used, for example, to show kind of the steps or the cyclical nature of a program. We all know this, to not read your slides, but we also totally understand that if public speaking is not your greatest strength, it can feel comforting to have all your words on the slide, right? But really, it doesn't make for a good presentation. So the more you know your material and can have images up behind you, then you don't need to read your slides and you can really engage with the audience in a much better way. If you have a lot of detailed information, detailing, steps or processes or data, put that on a handout and give it out to the attendees at the end of the presentation. Be sure to practice your talk, time it so that you don't have to rush at the end. The sessions that we get the highest scores, the best feedback from, are ones that create a genuine conversation with the attendees, which that Q&A, that conversation can't happen if you have to rush to get through all of your words and all of your slides. If you have some free time, if you want a couple of additional videos for inspiration, the top one here, How to Avoid Death by PowerPoint, gives some other really good design tips. And the bottom one is a TED Talk where the presenter is looking for ways to get information across not using PowerPoint, he uses dance, which is just a really fun, lighthearted way of looking at the material. Thanks again. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and we look forward to seeing you in Boston. Take care.